Marvel Studios' She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law has some smashing visual effects, which is why I'm speaking with VFX Supervisor Shannon Justison and Dottie Anerson. Hey, folks! All right, let's jump in. Now, there are some unbelievable visual effects in the series. What was the most interesting thing about working on the series?
I think the most interesting thing for doing the VFX for a show like this is that we have a CG lead, and that has never been done in a Marvel television show before because it's a little crazy.
I mean, it's a huge show. There are digital humans involved, so you're creating something using a lot of input data and a lot of performance capture, but ultimately it's a CG creation that's going to be acting alongside actual human actors.
It was all about making sure that we had everything in place to get the best performance recorded so that we could deliver on a She-Hulk character that represented Tatiana's acting.
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No, a normal amount of rage.
So, you know, walking into that room, you were going to have a fully CG lead character. Where do you start?
So if you're going to create a fully digital character like She-Hulk, there's sort of two streams you're pursuing at the same time. The first is Viz Dev, which would be standard for any sort of CG character. We have a visual development department here at Marvel. They look at all the comic books and they look at how our story is telling her story. And then the other side of that is that we look at our casting. The important part of this is that we need to know what Tatiana looks like in order to be able to transform her in and out of She-Hulk. We in VFX subject her to a lot of scanning and photography.
That then goes to a build stage. That goes through multiple steps of development, making the model look as real as possible, just in terms of like the physical proportions and the physical aspect of it.
So once you've done all of that digital work, you have Tatiana Maslany's performance. How do you pair the CG and her performance together?
We captured petabytes of data. It was absurd how much data we pulled off the set. We actually had a really big on-set VFX team just because we had so much data acquisition to do. When we're recording mocap and HMC on set, we've got several sets of data that we're actually kind of picking up. So the mocap data actually records not video, but it is straight data. And that is purely data that's recorded to a digital skeleton. So if you had walked over to the mocap brain bar while we were recording, you could see a little skeleton running around doing Tatiana's or Mark's performances, which is pretty wild.
Once you have all of that data and footage, how do you bring them together into a scene to create a realistic She-Hulk performance?
In order to make She-Hulk more lifelike, we always start with the animation first, because for a character like this, that's the foundation of everything that is to follow.
I mean, there are so many things that we consider when we're trying to make her feel as real as possible. We try to make it as close to what Tatiana did as possible and really see what the essence of each one of those performances is.
So starting from the edit, then we can start working from selects. Based on the selects, we would, for instance, we say we have a She-Hulk shot. This is the shot the editors have chosen. This is the mocap performance. All that goes over to a vendor, and then they start their process of tracking the plates, ingesting the mocap, which means transferring the mocap data to the She-Hulk rig.
And yeah, the thing that's most exciting is just seeing it come together, seeing it come to life. It's a long process, you know. We would start by post-vising, and where Tatiana would be walking around in her mocap suit, we would then put in a She-Hulk in a kind of a low-res, quick turnaround post-vis form, so that could start to inform our edit.
While the animation team is working away, the shaders team is working on refining all of the look of her skin texture, her hair texture, her clothing texture. We're building out her clothes, we're building out her shoes.
Then really, once you get turnover and start to build that scene and see the things coming to life, you start to match the lighting, you start to see the performance go on the actual She-Hulk animation puppet. It's super exciting seeing that character come to life.
Once we have an animated performance that we like and the studio buys off on, at that point we start all of what we call the sims, the simulations. That's where we start the clothing simulations, the hair simulations, and because all of that's driven by the animation, we don't really start that until after the animation is complete.
You know, She-Hulk has so many different looks. I imagine that's a lot of work. How typical is it for a CG character to have that many outfits?
Yeah, so She-Hulk has 25 outfits, which is a crazy amount of different outfits. Like, usually CG characters will have one, maybe two. She has to be in court, she has to be casual, she has to be kind of working out.
But you still get to have a lot of fun with, like, how do the clothes transform? What happens to her shoes?
Each one of these outfits has to be digitally created. It has to have its simulation. There'll be multiple layers to it. In one of our episodes, She-Hulk, turns up at a gala event for Female Lawyer of the Year, and she is wearing a sequined dress.
She-Hulk's gala dress, the sequin dress, it's incredibly complicated and terrifying to build in CG.
The dress is mind-blowing. It is so amazingly well done. I think there are over 1 million sequins that sparkle, they catch the light correctly, they have to be form-fitting on her, they have to flow with the dress. I'm just constantly aware of, when I'm reviewing those shots, just how, what an achievement it was to make that dress. Oh my God, that thing is incredible. It's so well done.
It really is so incredible. And you know, the whole series really is so special. What are you most proud of looking back at this entire series?
I'm really excited for people to see this character. I'm excited for my kids, to see her. And yeah, just being involved with kind of bringing to the screen so many shots of a digital human. I am very grateful for the opportunity to be involved with something so big.
I really feel like it's been an honor to be part of the She-Hulk team, especially as the VFX team. I love origin stories, and she's such a fun and witty, and she's meta, and she's just such a great character. So to be a part of her origin story is just a privilege.
Oh, Shannon and Dottie, it was such a blast getting to talk with you a bit more about She-Hulk and how you bring her to life. Thank you so much. And of course, everyone, make sure you go watch all episodes of Marvel Studios' She-Hulk: Attorney at Law, now streaming only on Disney+.